Every few weeks, it feels like the same story starts all over again. You open your phone, and there it is. Another AI breakthrough, another platform update, another expert telling you that if you do not transform now, you are already finished. And the strange part is this. Maybe your business is not broken at all. Maybe you have spent 10 or 20 years building customer trust. Maybe your team knows the tiny details of an industry that outsiders never see. Maybe your process looks old-fashioned, but it works. Then the feed tells you none of that matters anymore. The future belongs to algorithms. The future belongs to platforms. The future belongs to whoever owns the data. That feeling has a name: algorithm anxiety. It is not only a business problem. It is personal. If you are an employee, you may wonder whether your skills will still be valuable in 5 years. If you run a company, you may wonder whether a tech giant will turn your whole industry into a feature. So the default reaction is almost automatic. If the giants have an app, we need an app. If they use recommendation algorithms, we need recommendation algorithms. If they talk about digital transformation, we need a digital transformation project. But this is where many traditional businesses walk into the trap. They spend money building apps nobody downloads. They install systems that do not match the real workflow. They add dashboards, layers, and tools, but the business becomes slower, not smarter. Why? Because they are trying to fight the giants inside the giant's own game. And that is usually the worst possible battlefield. Tech giants have more data, more engineers, more capital, and more patience than almost anyone else. If the competition is scale, speed, and platform control, most traditional companies are already playing away from home. The smarter question is not, how do we become more like them? The smarter question is, what do we have that they cannot easily copy? This is the central idea behind becoming a smart opponent. Do not imitate the giant. Do not attack its strongest point. Step back and look for the part of your business that looks slow, heavy, even a little old-fashioned, but is actually difficult to replace. It might be offline relationships. It might be supply chain knowledge. It might be local trust. It might be the ability to handle messy, non-standard customer needs that no clean data model wants to touch. Digital technology still matters, but it is not the destination. It is the amplifier. The real asset is the thing you already know how to do better than outsiders. Technology should make that advantage louder, faster, and easier to deliver. In other words, the goal is not to become a smaller version of a tech giant. The goal is to choose your own field, protect what matters, and use technology to make your old strengths newly powerful. That is what a smart opponent does. Before we talk about strategy, we need to slow down the reflex. When a tech giant enters your industry, the most natural reaction is, we need to change. But the dangerous part is not change itself. The dangerous part is changing into a weaker copy of the giant. It is like standing in front of a professional boxer and deciding that your plan is to punch harder. That sounds brave for about 3 seconds. Then the match starts. The smarter move is not to learn the giant's best punch. The smarter move is to refuse the giant's rules. This is the first lesson of being a smart opponent. Before you copy anyone, audit your own cards. What do you already have that took years to build? What part of your business works because you know the customer, the process, the supplier, the local market, or the messy exceptions better than an outsider ever could? Tech giants are terrifying in the places where scale wins. They have more data, more engineers, more capital, and more patience. If the game is pure scale, most traditional companies are already playing away from home. But giants also have blind spots. They are strongest in standard scenes, where the world can be turned into clean data and repeated at massive scale. They are much weaker in scenes full of exceptions, customers with unusual needs, local relationships, manual judgment, industry habits, and trust built face-to-face. That is where your old strengths may not be old at all. They may be the part the giant cannot easily copy. So the first defense line is not a new app. It is not a dashboard. It is not a transformation slogan. The first defense line is knowing what must be protected. The book gives a surprisingly powerful example: Domino's Pizza. At first glance, Domino's is not the company you would expect to beat tech giants. It sells pizza. But from 2008 to 2024, Domino's stock return became one of the most extreme business stories of the era. So what did Domino's understand? It did not try to become a technology company. It used technology to become a better pizza company. The core advantage was not an algorithm. It was delivery. A pizza is not just a product. It is a product with a timer attached to it. Hot pizza and cold pizza are almost two different experiences. The faster it moves from oven to door, the more value the customer actually receives. That is why Domino's kept its own delivery system, instead of simply handing the experience to third-party delivery platforms. A third-party platform wants broad coverage. One driver may carry multiple orders across multiple restaurants. The route gets longer, the timing gets fuzzier. The platform optimizes the whole network, not one pizza. Domino's optimized the pizza. The rider leaves from the oven. The route is short, the handoff is tight. The company can connect ordering, preparation, staffing, route planning, and customer tracking into one system. Then technology becomes an amplifier. Mobile ordering, real-time tracking, smartwatch ordering, demand forecasting, staffing prediction. All of these tools make the old advantage faster and more visible. Domino's did not win by imitating a platform giant. It won by asking, what is the boring, heavy, traditional strength at the center of this business? Then it made that strength digital. That is the pattern. Do not digitize everything. Digitize the thing that already makes you hard to replace. After you know your advantage, the next thing to defend is the customer. Tech giants often see customers as data, profiles, tags, behavior, conversion probability, lifetime value. That is powerful, but it is incomplete. A person is not only a data point. People have emotional needs. They have habits. They have trust preferences. They want to feel seen, not just predicted. Think about a local store where the owner remembers your name, remembers what you bought last time, and knows what you do not like. The recommendation is not just accurate, it feels safe. That kind of trust is not calculated, it is accumulated. An algorithm can guess what you might click, but it cannot fully reproduce the feeling of, I know this person will not take advantage of me. That feeling comes from small, real interactions. A return handled generously. A phone call answered quickly. A problem solved without passing you through 5 layers of support. In the data model, those details may look inefficient. In the customer's memory, they are the moat. The book points to traditional assets that are often underestimated: owned channels, deep industry knowledge, and face-to-face relationships. One Chinese example is Pengdong Lai, a retail company famous not for an app or an algorithm, but for extremely human service. Tailoring help, rest areas, mother and baby rooms, patient employees, and a shopping experience that feels more like being taken care of than being processed. This does not mean every company should become Pengdonglai. It means that within your service radius, trust can be deeper than traffic. The question is not only how big you can become. The question is whether, inside the field you already own, you have played the trust card fully. The second big strategy is not to hide from giants. It is to learn how to live near them without being swallowed. Because the danger is real. The book tells the story of X&K Arms, a paintball retailer in the United States. At first, selling through Amazon looked like a miracle. Online sales exploded. The platform brought customers, traffic, and scale. Then, 4 years later, the retailer's best-selling products collapsed. Why? Amazon sourced the same products directly from the supplier and became the competitor. The retailer had proved the market with its own money. Then the platform stepped in and captured the prize. That is the basic truth of cooperating with giants. The upside is real, and the risk is real. So the point is not to fight every giant, and it is not to surrender either. The point is to borrow strength while keeping your own body. This requires a shift in thinking. Many traditional companies ask, how can I sell more of my product? That is product thinking. A smarter question is, can I build a small platform inside my own field? Not the next Amazon, not the next WeChat. Just a valuable connection point that others have a reason to use. Platform thinking does not always mean becoming a giant. It means finding the link in your industry that only you are positioned to organize. The Ambev example shows how this works. Ambev is one of South America's largest beer companies, part of AB InBev. It noticed a very specific problem. People wanted cold beer, but in many stores and supermarkets, the beer was not cold enough. At the same time, Brazil's retail network was fragmented, and many small shops did not have efficient delivery. So Ambev incubated Zé Delivery. The surprising part is that the platform did not only deliver Ambev's own beer, it also delivered other beverage brands. At first, that sounds irrational. Why build a delivery network and then help competitors sell through it? Because Ambev was not only thinking about one bottle of beer, it was thinking about the habit. If the app only sold Ambev products, it would be a company channel, useful but limited. But if the app became the place where customers could get cold drinks quickly, then the usage frequency changed. Customers had a reason to open it again and again. At that point, Ambev was no longer only a beer seller, it became part of the delivery infrastructure for cold beverages. The value moved from product margin to customer access, delivery capability, data, and ecosystem position. According to AB InBev's 2024 annual report, Zé Delivery reached $560 million in gross merchandise value and completed 76 million orders. That is the lesson. Platform thinking does not mean building a universal platform. It means finding the connection point inside your own territory and becoming hard to bypass there. You do not need to own the whole internet. You need to own a relationship that matters. There is another reversal in the book that matters even more. Most companies ask, how can I enter the giant's ecosystem? The smarter question is, how can I bring the giant into my ecosystem? Those sound similar, but the power relationship is completely different. If you simply enter the giant's ecosystem, you are dependent. The platform owns the traffic, the rules, and often the customer relationship. If the giant enters your ecosystem, you are closer to the hub. You may not be the largest player, but you control something the system needs. Of course, most companies cannot become the hub immediately. So the practical version is this: do business inside the giant's ecosystem, but always keep a route that does not pass through the giant. Anchor is a good example. It grew through Amazon, but it did not let Amazon become its entire identity. It built its own brand and direct customer channels. Amazon was a channel, not the lifeline. For smaller businesses, the principle is the same. Wherever you sell, create a direct customer connection outside the platform. It might be a membership card, a customer service WeChat, an email list, a warranty registration, a private community. The size matters less than ownership, because the platform can change the algorithm. It can raise fees, it can weaken your brand, it can learn from your data, it can even become your competitor. So every partnership with a giant needs defensive design. Keep a unique value the giant cannot or will not provide. Keep a customer relationship you can reach directly, and look for the gaps between giants. Xiaohongshu is a useful example. In China's internet landscape, Alibaba was powerful in commerce, and Tencent was powerful in social. Xiaohongshu did not fight either side on its home field. It built a distinct position between community and consumption. People discover, trust, and then buy. That gap became its role. The smart opponent does not always attack the giant. Sometimes it becomes the piece the giant's map forgot to include. The third strategy begins when defense is no longer enough. Sometimes the core business is not merely pressured, it is broken. The industry changes, the old road disappears, and the customer behavior that supported the business no longer exists. At that moment, companies usually try three kinds of rescue. The first is the counter brand. The giant has a new model, so we build a similar model and fight back. The second is acquisition. If we cannot beat the disruptor, we buy it. The third is retreat. Serve the old customers better and hope the core survives. All three can make sense in certain cases, but they share a danger. They still think inside the old field. When disruption is deep enough, the problem is not that you are running too slowly. The problem is that the road itself is disappearing. So the book's recommendation is more radical. Do not fall in love with the old house. But before you leave, rescue the most valuable thing from the ruins. That thing is not the old product, the old classroom, the old store, or the old channel. It is the core capability that made the old business work. If you can identify that capability, you may be able to carry it into a new field. The business can die. The capability should not. New Oriental is one of the clearest examples. In 2021, China's education and tutoring industry changed almost overnight. New Oriental's core business was hit extremely hard. Revenue collapsed, the stock price fell, and Yu Minheng later said publicly that the company had laid off 60,000 employees. That is not a small adjustment. That is a business ruin. The strange decision was to take teachers into live stream e-commerce. At first it sounded absurd. Teachers selling products? But look deeper. What was New Oriental's true core capability? It was not only classrooms. It was not only textbooks. It was the ability of teachers to explain things in a way people actually want to hear. In a classroom, that ability sells understanding. In a live stream room, that same ability can sell products through story, context, and trust. Same capability. New stage. Dongfang Zhenxuan became powerful because it transferred the most valuable part of the old business into a rising field. Nokia's story is less dramatic, but the logic is similar. Many people remember Nokia as the phone giant that collapsed. But Nokia did not disappear. After losing the phone business, it refocused on communication network infrastructure, an area much closer to its deep technical capability. New Oriental rescued expression. Nokia rescued communication technology. The abilities were different. The pattern was the same. When the old field breaks, do not only ask what business can be saved. Ask what capability can travel. That applies to individuals too. If you have spent 10 years in a traditional industry, your value is not only the current job title. It may be customer judgment, project coordination, industry intuition, or the ability to handle complex situations. Carry that into a growing field, and you are not starting from zero. So what does the smart opponent really say? It begins with algorithm anxiety, the feeling that platforms, data, and AI have already taken the future away from everyone else. But the answer is not panic. The answer is to find your real field. First, guard the defense line. Do not imitate the giant's strongest move. Return to the place where your old strength is hardest to copy, then use digital tools to amplify it. Second, ally with giants carefully. Borrow their traffic, tools, and infrastructure, but do not let them own your whole customer relationship. Keep a way out. Find the gaps they cannot fill. Third, if the old business has truly collapsed, rescue the core capability from the ruins. Products can disappear, channels can disappear, but a real capability can move. These three strategies answer the same question. How do you find a field outside the game defined by giants? And this is not only for companies. If you are a professional looking at AI and wondering whether your skills still matter, the same logic applies. Do not only chase the hottest tool, ask what your hardest to copy ability is. Maybe it is industry experience. Maybe it is human trust. Maybe it is judgment in messy situations. Maybe it is the patience to understand problems that do not fit a clean model. Those may look like dumb cards in a world obsessed with speed, but the dumb card may be your strongest card. Find it. Protect it. Amplify it. That is where your smart opponent strategy begins.